The news is live on Joy 99.7 in Accra, Love 99.5 in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Radio Justice Tamale, Radio Kpando, Fafa Radio Joje, and Jata FM Karaga. We are live on Twitter Spaces, Facebook live stream, and the My Joy Online interactive app. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. And Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows. Coming up, IMF review team concludes first assessment in Ghana and reaches staff agreement for the release of another $600 million. But there's a condition to be met.
And our executive board wants the necessary financing assurances have been received. An agreement with official creditors on the debt treatment in line with program parameters would provide these needed financing assurances.
But the finance minister says the country is on course to reach a deal with its external creditors.
I believe we are doing well with regards to the engagement. This coming week, we might actually get a proposal for them.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana says the economy is rebounding, but NDC minority in parliament flexes political muscles, threatens to block the 2024 budget over the governor's refusal to resign.
As far as we are concerned, he's a persona non grata currently, and we shall treat him like that. He described us as hooligans. We shall show him who hooligans are. Any business concerning the Bank of Ghana will be treated differently.
Also in this package, Ghana's biggest health facility, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, needs almost 1 million cedis monthly in subsidies to maintain the current prices for kidney dialysis.
So it's we have a 4 million deficit. Okay. And then if you are to run at full capacity, we will need about 961,000 cedis subsidy every month to be able to maintain the current prices.
We have more from our thought leadership event, which sought solutions for the dialysis crisis. It's been revealed 4 regions in the country have no dialysis machines, and it could cost up to 85,000 cedis for a person's treatment annually.
Across the country, the total number of dialysis machines is approximately 300, with the majority in the Greater Accra and Ashanti region. 4 regions do not have a single dialysis equipment. Over 90% of Ghanaians are priced out of dialysis care based on earnings.
So, must dialysis treatment be free?
I think ultimately dialysis must be free. We have to have a funding mechanism. If you look at the kidney situation we are discussing, the prevalence of chronic kidney disease, about 17% in Ghana, means that this condition is even more prevalent than HIV.
Also in this package, 22-year-old house help who murdered his employer at Sokoban in the Ashanti region sentenced to 20 years. We'll bring you details. And in sports,
Kwesi Appiah expresses confidence to effectively handle all 3 of his roles after his election to the FA's Executive Council.
And later in the bulletin, 27 years after the murder, suspect Dwayne Davis, also known as Keffi D, confesses to involvement in the tragic death of rap icon Tupac in court.
Only God can judge me. That right? Only God, man. Nobody.
However, I stand firm on the point that Tupac didn't have any business putting their hands on my beloved nephew, Baby Lane, period.
Perhaps I was blind to the
Where the 2023 National Science and Maths Quiz is formally underway. Thanks for choosing us. This is Joy News, independent, fearless and credible. Thanks for your company. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. The details now. An International Monetary Fund IMF staff team led by its mission chief for Ghana, Stefan Rude, has reached a staff-level agreement on the first review of Ghana's economic program under the extended credit facility arrangement. The staff-level agreement is, however, subject to IMF management approval and executive board consideration once the necessary financing assurances have been received. At a news conference a while at the Finance Ministry, Stefan Rude said Ghana will receive $600 million support once an agreement is reached with her external creditors.
Based on the IMF policies, What is needed, it remains the same than what was needed at the time of the program approval, and it's just making sure that there is progress in the sense that the government continues to make good faith efforts with those external commercial creditors to reach to achieve a debt restructuring agreement that will be also consistent with the program parameters. And then finally, I won't comment on Afrexim because this is, as you know, I think I have explained that. I explained that several times. The role of the IMF is not to tell the government how to restructure the debt, but just to make sure that the debt restructuring strategy is consistent at the macro level with the program. But it is very much a sovereign decision to decide which part of the debt is included in the perimeter of the debt restructuring and how that debt will be restructured. So I won't comment on this. On the DSA itself, indeed, at each review, and this is the case systematically for all IMF-supported programs, the DSA, the numbers will be revised as we revise the macroeconomic framework. That means growth, inflation, exchange rate. All of these will be changed slightly to reflect the reality on the ground, and so the debt stability analysis will also reflect that revised macroeconomic framework.
While the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is optimistic a meeting with the Paris Club next week will speed up an agreement.
External creditors, I believe we are doing well with regards to the engagement. Expected that this coming week we might actually get a proposal for them. Our target is to be able to conclude this thing before year end, and we are pursuing it. And I think achievements of the SLA also puts pressure on coming to faster resolution. So this achievement is important towards our negotiating stance going forward. The Paris Club Common Framework, MOU, certainly France and China continue to be very supportive, and we'll engage them in the coming weeks for that. But the MOU is important for the board, and so we'll make sure that we do achieve that as they came through in May last year.
Join users learning Ghana is hoping to restructure $30 billion of her external debt. Let's look at the numbers now. And a member of our data and research desk, Kofi AJ, joins us with more. Kofi, walk us through the numbers and tell us who we owe.
Bernice,
Sorry.
if you can hear.
Hello, Kofi,
Bernice.
if you can kindly unmute your device.
Yeah, Bernice, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Well, as of June this year, our external debt stood around $30 billion, which constitute more than 57% of our total debt stock. The amount we want to restructure is about $10.5 billion, which is about 34% of this $30 billion that we owe our external creditors. We owe China alone over $2 billion. Paris clubs, including amounts owed US, UK, France, and others, is a little over $2 billion. The biggest part of this debt is owed to Eurobond creditors, $13 billion, and multilateral is around $10 billion, and other creditors hold about $3 billion of this external debt that we are talking about.
And quickly, Kofi, are there conditions for the restructuring?
Well, so external restructuring is a bit complex compared to the debt treatment at the domestic level. We know that Ghana must go through 3 stages. First stage is the assurance stage, second is the agreement stage, and we have the actual restructuring, which is the final stage. I must say that it's been almost a year since Ghana defaulted on most of its external debt obligations. And as we speak, most of the negotiations with external creditors are still at the first stage, and we've not been able to advance most of the talks to the final stage, and we must go through these stages with the various creditor groups, so i.e. different conditions with Paris Club, China, bilateral creditors, and others. And IMF is aware, Bernice, that Ghana need about $4 billion to settle interest payments alone on our external debt this year. And an agreement with the external creditors is very, very necessary.
That's Kofi J of our Data and Research Desk. We'll keep you updated on this particular one. But let's stay on the economy. And the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, says the economy is showing signs of recovery.
We have all established that the very decisive measures put in place by the government and the Bank of Ghana have started yielding results, signaling a faster than expected turnaround, which needs to be sustained as we reset the economy. More specifically, non-food inflation has dropped significantly by 19 percentage points. Food inflation has also come down by about 8 percentage points. Core inflation, which measures underlying inflation, is also decelerating.
But the passage of the 2024 budget is in danger following a threat by the NDC minority to block it. The finance minister will, on November 15, be expected to deliver the budget, but the NDC is unhappy that the governor is still in office despite calls for him to resign. Dr. Addison, in an interview with international business website centralbanking.com, said he was not stepping down. He went on to say the minority could have channeled their grievances through appropriate ways instead of demonstrating like hooligans. Minority Chief Whip Governs Kwame Abuja says his side will not be kind to the governor in parliament.
For that thing at all, but it's just rather unfortunate that he spoke the way he spoke, which quite loose in terms of the way he spoke. Of course, he's the protection from his accomplices in government. But he should know that even under the best protection under the current government, a day will come that he will face proper justice of the people of this country. So he can be laughing at us today, but I don't want anybody to be discouraged. The use of peaceful protest must still be part of our political journey so that we don't take up alternative routes that may jeopardize our democracy. So the Bank of Ghana governor obviously feels protected, so he can speak loosely after collapsing our financial sector that is sending all of us into a very expensive way of living which majority can't afford. He can sit in his ivory tower and speak quite loosely, feeling that, of course, the appointing authority is an accomplice.
You heard the minority chief whip governs Kwame Abuja. Now, it emerged that Ghana's biggest health facility, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, requires close to 1 million cedis monthly in subsidies to maintain the current price for dialysis treatment. The hospital hiked the price by 100% but was forced to backtrack to the 380 cedis after public uproar. Joy News' search for answers for the dialysis crisis led to our Thought Leadership program, and at that event, CEO of the hospital, Dr. Poku Wariampoma, explained the financial difficulties facing the facility. Listen to him on the 4 million cedi debt the hospital is saddled with due to under-recovery incurred through dialysis service.
The renal unit has a deficit or has a financial deficit of 4 million cedis that we need to, that we are trying to find ways of.
Is that debt?
Yes, that's
or you owe a supplier?
No, it's debt. Yes, debt.
Well, Dr. Mpoma also says the hospital must necessarily increase the current cost for kidney treatment to avert a total shutdown of its renal unit, or it will require close to 1 million cedis in monthly subsidy support.
So it's 4 million. We have a 4 million deficit.
Okay.
And then if we are to run at full capacity, we will need about 961,000 cedis subsidy every month to be able to maintain the current prices because of the numbers that we are doing every month.
Well, there appears to be hope as Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare, says government will offer some help to Kolebu.
Yes, there's discussion going on.
So they will get the money. You can assure, because everybody's listening. This is very, very important.
Yes, they have to be supported for Ghanaians to get the treatment.
So you can assure us today on the show that Kolebu will get the money to open the OPD.
The Kolebu's chief executive was at the presidency yesterday of the board chairman. So
I just want to get a commitment. They will get the money.
Oh, the government is to assist and help the people. So whatever government wants to do to assist the people, that's what
they will do.
Let's stay a while on our thought leadership on the dialysis crisis. One of the startling revelations was that up to 4 regions in Ghana do not have a single dialysis machine. According to CDD fellow Dr. Kwame Sidu-Sapong, the average kidney patient will require up to 85,000 cedis annually to be on dialysis treatment, an amount many Ghanaians simply cannot afford.
Across the country, the total number of dialysis machines is approximately 300, with the majority in the Greater Accra and Ashanti region. 4 regions do not have a single dialysis equipment. Citizens in these regions requiring dialysis must commute significant distances to seek care. The dependents require dialysis. They would require 2.4 times their annual salary just to stay alive. The practical implications of this number is that over 90% of Ghanaians are priced out of dialysis care based on earnings.
Now, one question that remains unanswered is why Kolebu's dialysis machines and servers seem to be operated by a third party. Now, we've been joined by ranking member on the Health Committee, Kwabena Mintah Akando. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us once again. Briefly, Mr. Akando, what do you know about the terms of running the renal unit at Kolebu?
Well, let me put on the record that I don't have a copy of the agreement at hand. We've requested that the management gives us a copy of the agreement, but per their own account, that's the account by the management, to be specific, the CEO, what they told us was that one of the manufacturers of the dialysis machines has signed an agreement with them, and they are supposed to give them about 60 dialysis machines, and they will have to buy the reagent from them and not any other place, not in the open market. And so once they are giving them the machines for free, if you are going to buy reagents, let's say you have to buy it for 3 cedis, Kolebu will buy it more than 3 cedis, 4 cedis or 5 cedis. So that accounts for the rise in the cost.
Well, another issue has to do with taxes, right? Now, despite the involvement of a third party, is it possible to get tax exemptions and waivers for the importation of these consumables?
Yes, if we want. This is a government institution, and it shouldn't be difficult at all getting tax exemption. And sometimes I wonder how we do our things in this country. As I speak to you now, we have, HIV retrieval drugs locked up in our port at the moment. Meanwhile, we've run short as a country. Instead of them to give them the exemptions to clear these drugs from the port, the donors have given to us for free. We still have them there as I speak to you now. And people are crying for it. So I don't understand the way they operate.
I appreciate you for your time this afternoon. That's Ranking Member on Health Committee, Kwabena Mintah Akando, just ushering us into our next story because there's another health crisis looming. The network of persons living with HIV say there's a shortage of life-saving antiretroviral medications across the country. They say some facilities are now being forced to prescribe antiretrovirals for children, for adults. Others have resorted to taking expired antiretrovirals. Elsie Aya is national president of the network of persons living with HIV.
Antiretrovirals, together with some other health products, had arrived at the port since July. And from the beginning of August, our members had reported shortage of particular medications, which I contacted the National AIDS Control Program, the pharmacist in charge, and he said that it was true, and it was due to some tax waivers, and this had to do with AU tax, ECOWAS tax, and COVID-19 tax.
Well, there's a statement on this, and head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins me with more. What exactly does the statement say?
Well, Benis, NAPLAS Ghana is saying that they received calls and reports from their members across the country indicating that there's a shortage of a particular type. There are 2 types of the antiretroviral drugs that they take. There's one that is not good for the kidney. There's the other, which is safer. That one, the safer one, is in short supply. And they're saying that this is because they've imported some of these drugs and they are at the port since July, except that they're waiting for the clearance of AU tax, ECOWAS tax, and COVID-19 tax before they can clear them. And because of this, the drugs are stuck at the ports. And they're saying that some of their members, as you heard her say, are now resorting to medication that's not meant for them, some for children, some are even expired. and their members are relying on that, and they are saying that they are what is happening now is that there's a build-up of resistance to ARV by the persons living with HIV community, and there will be an increase in kidney and liver problems until the taxes are waived.
Right, that's head of our health desk, Fred Smith. Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Tremi Etuahene, joins us now for more on this. Doc, has this issue come to your attention?
Thank you. It comes to my attention.
Hello, Doc. Sorry, your line is quite bad. If you can reposition yourself so we hear you clearly, please.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Well, apologies for that. We seem to have a challenge with Doc's line. We were just going to find out from him. Doc, if you're back now, has this issue of antiretroviral drugs shortage come to your attention?
Yes, it has. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yes, it has come to our attention, and I need to clarify that the reference to build-up of resistance is, in my view, far-fetched at this point. There is potential, but there is no evidence presently that that is happening. But it's a very sad situation because, as Fred reported, which was confirmed by Mrs. Elsiaye, the drugs are at the port. They've been delayed in being released because of the fact that the port charges or clearance charges have not been paid.
Who's supposed to pay these charges? These medications have been donated,
I have received
and the expectation would be that there will be some tax waivers
from the Ministry of Health that the Ghana Health Service made the payment, and so the process of getting these medicines out of the port.
Hello, Doc, if you can hear me, I was just finding out from you whose responsibility it is to cater for these port duties and why there are no tax waivers on these drugs that have been donated.
There are tax waivers. That is one of the misunderstanding of the situation, but the Parliament of Ghana has granted tax waivers for all Global Fund related donated drugs, equipment, and all the related logistics. What is happening is that we have ECOWAS levy, we have AU levy, and as a country, a member country, we are under obligation to collect those taxes for these regional bodies.
I'm sorry, Doc, if you can hear me. So whose responsibility is it to pay for these taxes?
Oh, it's government of Ghana through the Ministry of Health. But what
right, Doc, and
presently,
just quickly, in wrapping up the conversation, there are concerns about expired medications being taken and those meant for children. That is worrying, isn't it?
It is. And it's even more worrying when it is being administered by health professionals. And so this matter is being taken seriously by the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service. And I believe this will be resolved immediately.
You heard the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Tremi Etuahene. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Later in the bulletin, 25 years after the murder, suspect Dwayne Davis, also known as Kefidi, confesses to involvement in the tragic death of rap icon Tupac.
Only God can.
I stand firm on the point that Tupac didn't have any business putting their hands on my beloved nephew, Baby Lane, period.
Perhaps I was blind to the facts.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
It's a Golden Jubilee celebration. The Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists mark 50 years of breakthroughs and innovation in healthcare. Under the theme, 50 years of medical laboratory services impact on healthcare delivery systems in Ghana, prospects and challenges, this 50th anniversary will be marked as follows. Day 1, October 13, Grand Durbar at the Accra International Conference Center. Day 2, October 14th, Association activities at the National Secretariat site, Kaswa. Also, there will be book launch, dinner and awards night in the month of November. For sponsorship and enquiries, contact the event organizer on 0244 360413 or the GALM Secretariat on 0558 521561. GALM's Service to Humanity.
Imagine say water wake up at dawn. E no buff, e no chop. When e vanish for your area for 2 weeks, you no get one drop safe inside your tank.
Hey. Hajia, our life was in dangerous.
Only our neighbor gets water with water tank.
Water tank?
Yes, water tank. Mamma mia, that water tank gets meter for checking water level. That water tank be fine past Kumasi Selenium. That water tank be tough like Ghana Army. That water tank, they carry water pepe, so say some no go left inside the supply tank. What a tank! As my boss, Mr. Poncho, go talk.
Beautiful, durable, with water level indicator and accurate volume of water. Water tank. What a tank! By Duraplast.
Thanks for staying on the Midday News. It's now time for sports, and Mubarak is here.
Yes, let's go to the breaking story because the draw for the CAF Confederation Cup is done, and debutants Dreams FC, they find themselves placed in Group C alongside Lobito from Angola, Club Africain from Tunisia, and Nigeria's Rivers United. Back to you, Benis.
Thank you. And a Kumasi Circuit Court has sentenced a 22-year-old house help who murdered his employer at Sokoban Apawu to 20 years imprisonment. John Alistair was convicted to 20 years each on 2 counts of stealing, but the sentence is to run concurrently. He pleaded guilty in a separate case to stealing an amount of 167,000 cedis belonging to the owner of a hotel where he worked as a receptionist. Now to the National Science and Maths quiz, where Holy Child School has been kicked out in that competition between Wesley Grammar School and St. Andrews SHS. Wesley Grammar ended the contest with 46 points, Holy Child 43 and St. Andrews 18. Also in that competition between Anlo SHS and Kranza SHTS and Bompe SHTS, Anglo SHS won with 48 points. Jackie Ansuma, your boy, is there for us. Hello, Jackie. I can imagine the disappointment of the Holy Child School. Tell us more about the atmosphere there.
All right, Bennett. So it has been very interesting so far. But currently I am at Sarah Mensah Hall, and that was where the contest was between Anlo Senior High School in Kranza and Bompe Senior High School. It was an interesting contest. It started with Kranza leading, but around the third round, we realized that Anlo was leading, and they went through and sailed through, and they've qualified for the next stage.
All right, so what are the next contests to look forward to, Jackie?
All right, so for my venue, which is Sarah Mensah, in the next 30 minutes, we have Sogakofe Senior High School, Ameniampon Senior High School, and Cratchit Senior High School. But for Kuma Play, we have University Practice, Ejisoman versus Okonfanoche Senior High School.
That's Jackie Ansomayabwa joining us from KNUST, where the prelims of the 2023 NSMQ is happening. Do stay with us here. We are your official sponsors of this in terms of broadcast. We'll bring you all the latest updates. And before I go, 27 years after the murder, suspect Dwayne Davis, also known as Kefidi, confessed to his involvement in the tragic death of perhaps the greatest rapper of all time, Tupac. Davis, 60, was arrested in Las Vegas with a grand jury indicting him in the case on charges of murder with the use of a deadly weapon. The arrest comes some 27 years after the rapper was shot as he was leaving a boxing match on the Las Vegas Strip. In court yesterday, Davis said the September 7, 1996 shooting was a retaliatory attack.
Terrible losing people like that. I know that pain too well. However, I stand firm on the point that Tupac, Suge Knight, and the rest of those dudes didn't have any business putting their hands on my beloved nephew, Baby Lane, period. Then jumping on my nephew gave us the ultimate green light to do something to their ass. So you have a sense of remorse for what happened to Tupac?
Yeah. I got a sense of remorse that happened to any brother, you know what I'm saying? But he put himself in that position. He did that.
You know, there is...
People make mistakes, I understand.
Tupac died because he put himself in a situation that he had no business. Tupac didn't have no business doing what he was doing.
Which was a gang situation.
Which was a gang situation.
You have the Dwayne Davis confessing to his involvement in the tragic death of rap icon Tupac 27 years after the event. And that's how we end this edition of the Midday News, brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. And Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows. Our top story, IMF review team concludes first assessment after first tranche of $3 billion loan agreement was given to Ghana, and has reached a staff level agreement for the release of another $600 million with a condition. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com, including Jason Durello sued for sexual harassment by fellow singer. Thanks for your company once again. I'm Bernice Abubedulansa. Do stay with us. Up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil.